How's it going, everyone? Mike here. And patch notes for League of Legends, patch version 1.0.0.108. And let's just jump right into it. We got new skins in the store. We got Resistance Caitlyn, Sheriff Caitlyn, Surgeon Shen, Nurse Akali. They all look pretty sweet. I'm not a big fan of skins. If I would use them, or when I played it in the past, I did have custom skins. But recently, I just haven't even been playing with them. I've just been playing the game the way it is, and I have nothing against people who buy skins or use skins. They do what you want. I am just that type of player. Next, we got the big champion for this patch, Caitlyn, the Sheriff of Piltover. If you saw Freak's Champion Spotlight, which I'm sure everyone who plays League of Legends watches them just because you see the champion in action the day before they gets released. But I'll give you my quick overview. We got Piltover Peacemaker. It's a little long range nuke. I believe it has 1050 range. It's pretty far, and it can go through subsequent targets and every other target that it hits. The damage gets reduced by I think 6%, and it can go all the way up to minus 70% damage. It's a pretty good skill, not too bad. It's really good for picking up people who are trying to run, or like if you've got that one person camping at their tower and they're about to port back, you could just long range them and they're pretty much screwed. Next, got Yordle Snaptrap. At first, I didn't really like the skill too much, because you could really only place 2 traps, and I still think that's the downfall of this spell. But the traps do immobilize your target for 1.5 seconds. Obviously, it's reduced if they have Mercury Treads. It'll bring it down to about like 0.8 or 0.9 seconds that they'd be immobilized for. It's not a stun, so don't think you can use it on someone who's channeling a spell. The best thing that'll do is after the spell's channeled and when it activates the trap, the person won't be able to move, so they'll be stuck in that position, and your team could probably come up and finish off a gank or something. Or it could kind of turn the tides of battle if you could place them in correct spots in the middle of a fight so that people can't run. Like, let's say a Malzahar ults someone that you guys are about to gank, you throw a trap right in front of them. Their choice is to either run through the trap or have to take an alternate way around or flash the trap. There are a whole bunch of different ways that they can get out of it, but in your laning phase, it's a really good spell to take. Try to get at least 1 rank in it, and just try to keep traps in places where you know you could run to escape. So that when, let's say you're up top and someone follows you into the brush, they hit the trap, immobilize, and you're home free. Next, we got 90 caliber net. This is when she fires your net and she gets her little recoil and she jumps back I think it's about like 200 yards, 250 yards. It's a big enough jump where you can get over small cliffs or small ramps or go through trees, such as where the lizard buff is or the golem buff is. You can get through little areas. I believe Freak shows a point in Champion Spotlight where he's getting ganked middle. He runs to the lower brush. Rammus is about to hit him, and he goes up the ramp with the 90 caliber net. It does a pretty, I don't want to say significant amount of damage, but it does pack a punch when you use it, and the slow is really nice. If you use that in conjunction with your Yordle Snaptrap, you could really get away from any gank from any champion, whether they have red buff, a stun or not. Just time everything well, and if you hit the slow, you're pretty much home free if you have a ghost or a cleanse, which I suggest. I suggest highly taking at least cleanse and ghost, at least one of those two, if not both. Her ultimate Ace in the Hole is when she channels that big shot. It deals pretty big amount of damage. I think it's 200 at rank 1, 400 at rank 2, and like 600 at rank 3, something like that. It's a really good finisher move, or even to start a battle off. If you use it right off the bat, if someone's in the opener to gank, using that skill right when the person gets stunned or something, charge it up. It's an instant 600 damage if you know your teammate's going to finish them off. Or if they're about to run, the range on it, I believe, is the exact same range as Piltover Peacemaker, so I think it's like 1,000 or 1050, something like that. A really good spell. It increases with the more attack damage you have, the more damage it will do. Ace in the 90 caliber net and Yordle Snaptrap are AP ratios, so they scale your AP, and Piltover Peacemaker scales with your attack damage. And Piltover Peacemaker and Ace in the Hole both do physical damage instead of magic damage. And her passive headshot, every 8 attacks, she deals 150% damage to a champion or 250% to minion. It's really good if you're in top or bottom lane. Just keep going in and out of the brush, try to get those shots up, get it to where it's about to proc, and then go and hit the champion, and you could harass pretty effectively. Next, we got a little buff to Cassiopeia. She really needed it. She got her movement speed increased. Her Noxious Blast movement speed increased when she hits it. Increased for 3 seconds now. AP ratio for late game scaling got increased to 0.55. And her ultimate slow got changed to 60% at all levels. And the cooldown is now 10 seconds longer at rank 1, but 10 seconds shorter at rank 3. Cassiopeia really needed it. I think she's going to even get another buff. If not next patch, the patch afterwards, because I think she's I don't want to call a champion underpowered because any champion could be like on par with any other champion if played right. It's always the summoner, not the it's always the summoner, not the champion the summoner picks. So, but I really do think she's on the weaker side, and I personally would like to see a buff with her because I was very interested in buying her, and then once I saw her in game, I realized she just wasn't for me. Her damage output was just not enough. But moving on, we have Garen. Garen's judgment base damage increased. So now, I think it's back to what it was before this patch that just happened last week where they nerfed him a little bit. Did he need it? Not really. I haven't really... Garen, ever since he was released, he's been a solid champion. A lot of people complain that he's overpowered. I disagree. If you get, like, a Black Cleaver, or you get a Magic Pen or Armor Pen, you could shred through Garen in no time. Or if you have a Trundle on your team and Trundle ults him, Garen's pretty much screwed, but that goes with any tank that Trundle ults because Trundle's a beast. But the increase of damage back to what it was, now 220 per second at rank 5. I think it's fine. It doesn't make him overpowered, doesn't make him underpowered, just back to where he was. I enjoy playing with Garen's, even though I don't personally play him. Aurelia got a little bit of a buff. She got a range buff. Her Blood Surge and Equilibrium Strike both got increased range by 50 yards, or 50 units of feet, or units of measure, whatever they call it. I'm just saying yards because that's just what I'm saying. Her Transcendent Blades damage got increased, I believe, by 10. So, I guess that's alright. And her title, whatever. Did she need it? I think so. Aurelia... Never really did much beforehand. I know a lot of people complain that she was like overpowered or late game if she got farmed up really big and she completely shredded a team. But to be honest, that's like any champion. Any champion gets farmed up, they could kind of wipe a team unless they're support. Like if you get a farmed up Soraka, she's not going to wipe your team, but she will heal for a shit ton. But I think the range is a nice increase to her. You just got to learn the zoning with her now because that extra 50 distance that she has, it's quite noticeable, and she will throw you off guard if she just pops out of the brush getting you. Katarina's Shampoo, it will now place you on the other side of the target rather than on their ass every time. I think the reason they did this is because if Katarina was trying to chase down an enemy and they had their back to them and Katarina Shampooed to them, what usually happened is you just land on their butt, but they'd be able to keep running. Like, there would be no collision, so it wouldn't really slow the guy down unless you had... a Rylai's where you could shampoo to him, and I believe he gets slowed for like 1 second. I think the Rylai's effect is, or if you do the bouncing blade, it would then slow him again. But now it'll put you on the other side of the champion, so facing them pretty much, and I believe it helps. It helps with Katarina catching up to people and even getting her ult off because now they're going to hit her and they have to go around her. If it may take an extra half a second, that half a second could mean the difference between a kill and not a kill. So I believe it was a really good thing to put on Katarina. Next, we got LeBlanc. Base attack damage increased by 3, and attack damage per level increased by 0.2. I don't really see the point of it. I guess Blizzard felt that they weren't getting enough, like LeBlancs weren't able to do enough, like get enough last hits because their damage was a little low. But the ones that I've seen have really never had a problem getting last hits. Again, if you're a skilled player, you play the champion enough, you know when to use your attack in order to get the kill, or the minion kill or whatever. But I guess cool. I'm not a big fan of LeBlanc, so I wouldn't really know. Moving on, Malzahar. It was just a bug fix with Malefic Visions. I don't really know much about it. I never played Malzahar. I played against him, but never played him, so I'm just never interested in him. Next, we got Olaf. Frenzied health scaling increased to 1%, so it got buffed by 0.5. And the base damage of his frenzied strikes got reduced by 3. If I'm reading it right, yeah. Again, I'm not really sure. I've seen one Olaf since the patch yesterday, and I didn't really see him do much. Like, Olaf is Olaf. He's kind of a beast, and if played by a smart player, he could wreck a whole team crazy. But now I guess with the health scaling increase, I think it might make him a little bit more viable, but who knows? Again, I don't play him much. The big one for me right here is Pantheon. His Grand Skyfall is now more visible to allies. What this means is before, when Pantheon used to ult, most Pantheons would ping like 9 times where they're ulting, and then after he lifted up into the air, you'd wait another 3 seconds, I think it was, and then the green circle, the green fuck me spot would show up if you were his ally, or the red fuck me spot would show up if you were the enemy, and that's where you know he would land. Now they changed it where the enemies still see it for the last 3 seconds, but now your allies see it for all 6. So when you first play with it, it's going to throw you off because you're so used to it just being 3 seconds. Like if you're a tank like a Shen or a Rammus, you're going to grab that taunt. You want to bring it back into the middle or closer to the center so that when Pantheon lands, you can jump and stun him and pretty much get the kill. But now it's just you have 6 seconds, so now your whole timing window's off and you just got to get used to it. And I don't really think it was necessary because, especially in ranked play, most people are on Vent or TeamSpeak and they're talking, so they know where Pantheon's ulting, or he's saying where they're ulting. Oh, I'm ulting behind Shen, or I'm ulting behind Twisted Fate. But I guess it was more pub friendly now. Whew, out of breath, man. Udyr, Tiger Stance, got a buff. Phoenix Stance, I believe it got a buff also. Or Tiger Stance looks like it went back to what it used to be, and I think Phoenix Stance, went back to what it used to be, and Tiger Stance, I believe, got a little bit of a buff. In my opinion, Udyr has always been a beast. There's never really been a problem with him. I think they're just experimenting with Udyr because I think in some games, if they're played by the right person, he seems very overpowered. And in some games, if they're played by someone who's a complete noob, he's very underpowered because they don't know how to stands with him. If you take that for lack of a better word, I guess. But Udyr's always been a beast. I love watching a good Udyr play because he's absolutely amazing. And my friend plays Udyr, and I give him so many props because whenever he plays, we have like a 90% win rate because he's a beast in the jungle. But my jungle of choice, Trundle, all day, every day, or Sion. Sion's a beast jungle, and for those of you who watched the Noxus vs Ionia, that Sion, I hate to say it, just didn't know what he was doing, and it kind of upset me. But anyway, we're not here to bash people. We're onto the items now. The Ionian Boots of Lucidity. These are the cooldown reduction boots from the Ionia versus Noxus lore match. Obviously, Ionia win. I'm pretty sure if the Noxus win, I don't think they'd call them the Ionian Boots of Lucidity. But reduce cooldown to 15% and move speed of 2. I don't know. These are very situational items. If the opposing team doesn't really have much magic resist and you don't really need the spell pen, then by all means, 15% reduced cooldown, I know is a nice chunk. I know my friend has used these with Taric, but then again, that was because he never really got targeted. They had like 2 CCs, so he figured the extra 30% wasn't really worth it, and the little extra magic resist wasn't really worth it, and he'd rather the 15% just to heal more, just to put up that stun quicker. And again, with all boots, they're very situational. You never just want to be stuck into one boot. And there you go. Zhonya's Ring was split into 2 items now. It's no longer just one. You have the Hourglass, which is 100 AP and 50 armor, and then the unique passive, or the unique the unique active, my bad. It does what the original Zhonya's do, placed you in the stasis for 2 minutes. 2 seconds, Jesus Christ. Could you imagine 2 minutes? That'd be a little broken. Put you in the invulnerable position for 2 seconds with a 90-second cooldown. And the second one is Rabadon's Death Cap, 155 AP and increased ability power by 30%. Again, I think it's a nice thing that they did this because now spellcasters kind of have to go one way or the other for their first item. You can't just rush Zhonya's to get that increase AP buff and living potential. Now it's either you go for the 100 AP with the armor and the invulnerability, or the 155 AP with the 30%. But if you get both of them, I believe if you get both of them, the AP just from those 2 items, you're looking at in the 300s already. And it's kind of a huge, but I know they cost a lot, so it's kind of hard to farm them both right off the bat. And most people won't. They'll more time than not, people are going to get the Rabadon's Death Cap, only because a lot of people nowadays, they just want damage, and not so much living potential. But if the other team has that insane killing potential, and let's say you're a Rise, and after you do your burst, you really have nothing to do, and they jump on you, you pop your Zhonya's, once it ends, you flash out, and you combo again, and you pretty much light up the whole team. So again, very situational. Choose which one, if not both. Next we got Rite of Ages, Warmog's Living Arm, and Bloodthirster. They now show their tooltip with the stats they are. This really helps when you farm up each one of them, because I know sometimes like I'll have my Warmogs or my Bloodthirsters. I don't really get Rite of Ages much, but I want to know how many stacks I'm at. Or like I want to know like if I don't need to keep killing creeps to farm it up anymore. And especially with Bloodthirster, because after you die, you lose everything and you gotta start from scratch. So it's a nice addition. I wish they would have added it sooner, but better late than never. They said they're gonna move them to Trinity Force and Tiamat, but I'm not sure what they want to add to that. But alright. Phantom Dancer. Attack speed got increased by 5%, so it's now 55%. I don't really get Phantom Dancer anymore, only because you lost that 20% dodge. And I'm kind of disappointed that they kind of took dodge out of the picture. Like, dodge was so good against certain champions, especially if you were Jax. But like against a Tryndamere, a Teemo, an Ashe, now a Caitlyn, like it was just so amazing. And I'm sad to see it gone. It kind of made Phantom Dancer useless in my opinion, but I think some people still get it. Me, not so much anymore. Sunfire Cape no longer deals damage while dead. Great. It's really no input on that. Good that it doesn't, because it shouldn't. It's kind of dumb that it did. Black Cleaver. This is my favorite new item buff from like that recently in the past like 3 patches. The damage got reduced by 15 or 20. Wow, it got reduced by 20. But now instead of I forgot what it added before actually. Wow. But now it adds the 55 damage and 30% increased attack speed. And the passive now, instead of shredding 12 armor per hit and stacking 5 times, it now shreds 15 per hit and stacks 3. So it only stacks up to 45, where down from 60, but it only takes 3 hits now to get to that 45. When before, like you're losing 15 armor loss from the 5 stacks, but you can get him up to its max potential quicker. And I really like it. I've actually been using it on Caitlyn. People say I'm an idiot for getting it on Caitlyn, but I feel like she could rip through anything now once she has that. Just bring the person's armor down to nothing. And since her stuff is physical damage, it deals pretty almost close to true damage. And it's nice to see that. The ward buff. Thank God they did this, because I was sick of buying wards that kept destroyed. You put him down, and if the other team saw it, or if one guy saw it, he'd just look at it and freaking blow on it, and the thing would get destroyed. But now sight wards only cost 75 gold down from 90, so 15 gold decrease. And vision ward still costs the same. And also Wriggle's Lantern, the ward you put down. Any ward now, it has 3 health, and every champion or any attack that's against the ward only deals 1 damage. So now every champion in the game has the equal killing potential of a ward, rather than like a Soraka taking 3 years to destroy a ward when a Tryndamere could one-shot it. So I'm really glad they do this. I don't really see them moving it anywhere from here. Maybe to reduce or increase the amount of hits it takes to destroy it, or increase the gold for it. Will the Ancients, ability power granted to the owner, increased to 50 from 40. Never really used Will the Ancients, but it's nice to see that an item that gives an aura around gives the person who's carrying it more. So that's always a nice buff. And last one, Wit's End. I'm like out of breath. This is ridiculous, dude. Let's start going to the gym again. Jesus. Wit's End. Now damages enemies that do not have mana, and fix a bug where Wit's End did not interact correctly with clones. Wit's End, an item I think I see once a month someone get. It could be good, I guess, if you have a sick amount of attack speed and the other team, like, has a lot of mana, or, like, they're very mana dependent, and you could get off, like, 2 shots a second, because I think it's, like, 40 mana or 35 mana a hit it takes away. So if you can get, like, 2 shots a second, 3 seconds, you're on the guy, but in my opinion, what's the point? Like, it adds extra damage, I see, but wouldn't you rather spend the money on an actual damaging item or an actual AP item in order to deal them more damage, rather than like cutting the mana they use? I don't know. What's your guys' opinion on Wit's End? I personally don't get it, but that's just me. Summoner spells exhaust now reduces auto basic attack by 70%, and the ability and spells ability damage or items by 35% instead of blinding the target. So what this pretty much means is Ashe no longer gets countered by it. Caitlyn won't get countered by it. Tryndamere, the big one, won't get countered by it. Their attack damage is just reduced by 70%. And obviously the slow still stays. And now if someone exhausts a spellcaster, it's not wasted. Now 35% reduced damage. I think that that percentage might even move to 50. Not exactly sure, but we'll see what the next few weeks brings us. And quickly, the general ones. Baron got a huge buff. What is that? 1500 HP added. Resistance increased by another 35, so it's now at 70, and damage increased by 15%. This stops people from doing 15-minute Barons right when it spawned, or getting the Warwick to solo it. The Shaco, I'm not sure if he can, but the Shaco to solo it. Any champion who could solo it, I'm pretty sure they have a hard time now just because of the damage increase and the extra 1500 HP. I think they did this because they didn't want games to end, or people who didn't have much map awareness or didn't have much map control with wards, they won't get completely shit on because no one's watching Baron. But I don't know. For ranked play, it might make the games last a little longer because Baron won't be as essential so early. Now people might be doing it at like 23 or 25 minutes as opposed to people doing it right when it's spawned at 15 or 18. But that's just that. And Dragon, the global gold was reduced by 50, so now it gives 190 gold. Magic resistance, it was increased to 30. The on-hit effect, it now only hits the person that the dragon's attacking rather than anyone around that person. And it gives a debuff, reducing attack speed by 20%. Makes Dragon a little bit harder to solo, like early on, like level 6 or level 5 for some champions. But most of the time now, you don't really find just one champion doing Dragon. If your jungle's going to do Dragon, usually you get like one person from your bottom lane to go help him. Or if mid's missing, you grab your mid to go help him. Because normally you want to protect the person doing Dragon. Dragon's very important. Usually the team who controls Dragon will win the game. So that's kind of my opinion. I guess it was good because now Dragon might be a little harder to take down. But it'll just... I think they want to see more teams being associated around Dragon rather than just that one person. The monster experience range reduced to 800 from 1250. So 450 yard nerf from getting EXP. So now zoning becomes huge in lanes. If you could zone your enemy champion out and keep your minions in the middle of the lane longer, you will most likely push your lane that much faster. It's just zoning becomes big now. Again, I think they're looking for more technical play rather than just let me sit in the back and auto attack stuff, because 1250 the person, even if I zone them, could just poke their head in and get EXP. Remove mana from inhibitor minions, great. Didn't really see what that did. Shrine turrets now exort all resistance and wow, I can't even read that word. And immunities. Jesus Christ, I'm losing it today. Great again, and the options menu now is a slider for the chat box. And Misfortune, they fixed their audio on Make It Rain. So, excuse me. Overall, pretty great patch. I actually like it. Caitlyn was actually the first champion I bought since Trundle. And then before Trundle, it was like Shen. Like, I really don't buy into the new champions because a lot of them are huge disappointments to me. But I'm really glad about this patch. It really came with like the first patch of 2011, and the game is kind of taking in a different direction. They're focusing more on team play, and I'm really liking to see that because I'm sick of those people who go into normal games and think they're tough shit, and then they end up losing the game for your team. But let me know what you guys think of this. I know this is the first time I did it, so let me know what you guys want me to change. I know these are all still pictures. Let me know if you guys want me to add a little video or a little music to the background instead of me just talking through the whole thing. But thank you guys so much for listening to me, and keep raping some kids in League of Legends. Have a good one.